Yes, it is. Test, test, test. So, a couple of things I'm looking for. Can I hear myself? That's one thing. Which is it jumping, jumping, jumping on here? Okay, check, check, check. Let's walk over to the camera so I can show you that part. So if you look at the camera, this is how you know it's got sound on the camera. Now, just because that's jumping, that doesn't mean that's this. So the way you know is, see how, test, test, test. See how it's reacting to my voice. If I miss it. Should still work. There it is.
Tap it there is because from the speakers. Yeah.
So this mic is picking up lots of stuff, which is why it's still jumping. Check, 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 check. So there's a couple of jumping points to look at. We also need to start recording on here. If you listen, I think I cleaned them off, but every time I hear this, this is how you know that this audio for the camera recording has audio. Check, 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 test, test. You don't hear anything in there?
One up from the sound. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Check, 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 test, test.
Yeah. So it's
So if you got audio, yeah, that's my phone.
I'll bring my headphones next.
You got audio, and you know if this back or copy is good, which is important. If anything goes wrong,
Yeah, you gotta have a headset.
this is our backup. We want to check that. You see that? You saw the Mitzi board. So basically, it's kind of like three phases. Check, check, check.
So it should be on the YouTube channel, right? It's live or?
It's on my.
On your channel,
On
yeah.
the test one, yeah.
I think I still have access to that channel. So I was able to hear your other tests.
Check, check.
There we go.
Yeah, so we got to make sure we can hear out of those microphones. That means that the camera's good.
Can you check test 3?
We're not live yet, though. On the test.
Next week.
weeks. I like that. Oh, back to the Shure mic again. I hate this mic. I always have it. It's me. It's me playing. How's this? They're going to sound good on YouTube? Yeah, I hear air conditioner.
Oh.
It's AC unit. All right, so we're going to start tonight with some stuff that I've been dealing with and working with God with, and now we're going to bring it to fruition and start putting it in action in place. We're going to be making some changes here at Texas Ephraim. Number one, I'm only teaching 2 weeks out of the month. The other time it will be Larry or Darren or John or Charles. Primarily it will be Larry and Darren that will teach and split up the Saturdays. They may be teaching more than that. I've got a lot of things I'm trying to dig into, and I've told everybody for years and years and years. And I remember sitting with Prophet one time when we were with the Prophecy Club, and we were in Topeka in the conference room, and he sat down and told me, says, "Look, you guys don't start understanding this stuff, you're going to lose your prophet." And you know what? 2 weeks later, me and him both were gone, and he was out of the Prophecy Club. And what it's turning into is, when I was dealing with God with it, I keep going through and teaching the same things over and over and over again. And what I'm teaching, I'm just retitling it. Like last couple weeks teachings when I taught on assurance. You know what that was? That was the fruit. That was God and his family. That was the husband teaching and the wife teaching. That's what that was. A lot of it was. But see, because we're still not grasping the full concept of what's being taught and how to understand it and how to put it in activity in our lives, I think a lot of it comes down to, I kind of look at it this way. You know, you only saw Elijah come out of the cave when either it was a holy day or he had some Baal prophets that he needed to kill, and then he came out. Samuel, you saw him when it was Shabbat time, and he went to the tabernacle or synagogue, or he was out there appointing and anointing kings. I think the prophets being faced first every week, live and in person, is not necessarily a good thing. And the reason for it is twofold. One, I know that for myself, Dave, Paul, and especially Darren in Canada, we talked about this. And he's doing the same thing. He's backing away too. Because if we have to continuously teach on the stuff that we've been teaching, that Prophet was teaching on 12 years ago, it actually sits down and begins to stunt our growth in ministry. It begins to hinder our spirit. That's what it ends up doing. Hey, Larry, that clock's unplugged. I can't see what time it is. And so it begins to hinder what we are learning and going through and beginning to teach into. But also at the same time, by letting the ministry sit down and teach, it allows me to sit down and study into those greater depths of things. So when I do come and teach, I can teach in the greater depths that you may not understand, but that's fine, because it's going to be up to the guys to teach you. So what I'm going to have them do is, for everybody that's here, and I think we're missing Mullahan, the 4 ministers, those would be your guys' contact with the ministry. You have questions, you have something going on in the family that you need to talk to. Those are the guys that, if you pick one that you feel comfortable with, they're the ones that are going to help you guys and answer your questions and go through the rigmarole of whatever it is. And if they can't do it, then they'll come to me and we'll figure it out together. And then, of course, we're still going to get back to the point when all this COVID crap is done. We'll get back to the point of having people over at the house, one night a week, and having dinner and do like we used to do back in the day before we got bigger. We're going to get back to that. But I'm going to get back into the point of being leadership, as in leadership like Prophet was leadership, where if I'm going to run the ministry, I can't be front and center all the time. I've got to be doing the things that I've got to do with God in the study aspect of it, because let me tell you the stuff with how this thing works. I spend my time not only studying what I'm studying, which I get a lot of that when I drive Uber and DoorDash, and I have an audio book, which is really nice to have. But then I study it at home. But then in order to sit down and put together what I put down together for you guys every week, that takes a good 5, 7, 10 hours out of my study time to teach, to get this material ready to bring that to you guys. So now it takes away from you studying what I was studying. And then I have to be careful because when I go to teach, a lot of what I've been studying leaks out into what I'm teaching on my usual Saturday teaching. And if I'm not careful, it can cause a problem because a lot of things that I'm learning and studying right now aren't things to be divulged yet. And Dave will tell you on that too. And we're going to be, that's what some of the things we're going to be discussing at Sukkot also. But it's time for ministry to step up. It's time for the 4 ministers to be up front, to be standing behind this bema and teaching. It's time for the elders, for you guys and your families to step up. You've got to step up. This thing is getting to the point in this world right now, it ain't going to get no better. I'm going to tell you that right now. This thing is only going to get worse. And for lack of a better term, for the next 6 months, until the election is over and Trump gets reappointed in office again, you better stay strapped. You're going to get clapped. Let's put it that way. Because this thing is going to get serious. This thing's going to go well past what you're seeing in Wisconsin and in Minnesota and Michigan and anything else, because it's turned into a war against not left versus right, not good versus evil, but darkness and light. And they're coming after us. And if you're not ready spiritually because you choose not to take your time and learn, you will die like the rest of them. And I will promise you that will not be on my head when that happens, or the rest of the prophets. Our job is to teach you, to prepare you for the coming of the shepherd. That's what our job is. Our job is to prepare the fertile ground to plant the seed so when the shepherd comes, his sheep are ready. I would hate to see what would happen right now if Yeshua came back and split that Mount of Olives, how many people would go? And I hate to say it, probably none of us, including some of us prophets. Because you know what? We're spending too much time taken away from our study. The way it's supposed to be for prophets is this. If we're not working to provide substance for our family and spending some time with our family, we're supposed to be seeking the face of God every day. That's all we're supposed to be doing. If we're not spending family time, we are to be seeking the face